Good morning, family. This is Brother Lazavian, and I invite you to join me in what I call 5 minutes of reflection, where we take 5 minutes out of our time, out of our day, to reflect on a particular scripture. And today's scripture comes from Psalm 34, particularly verses 1, 4, 6, and 8. We're going to begin with verse 1. Verse 1 says, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. When I think about that scripture, when I meditate on that, and I reflect on that, I think about that first part of the scripture that says, I will bless the Lord at all times. In good times, in bad times, when I'm up and when I'm down, in every season of life, regardless of the situation or the circumstance, with every ebb and flow, I will bless the Lord. When I feel like it and when I don't, I will bless the Lord. Why? Well, David answered that question beginning in verse 4. Verse 4 says, I sought the Lord. He heard me and delivered me from all my fears. I sought the Lord. He heard me and delivered me from all my fears. This is why. That word sought here, it comes from a Hebrew word called darash, D-A-R-A-S-H, meaning to seek, inquire, consult, ask, require, or frequent. Because David sought, he asked, he cried out to God, and God heard him and delivered him from his fears. He was able to say, I will bless the Lord at all times. See, David had a testimony. He had first-hand experience of God's power of deliverance. How many of you have first-hand experience of God's power of deliverance? Okay, David answered this question again as the why. In verse 6, he said, this poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. Now, we know all of us have had trouble. Okay, when David said this poor man, it's a sign of humility. He humbled himself. He admitted to God, admitted to himself, and he's admitted to us that he's not all that. Okay, he need a God. He need help. So here he admitted that he was in a point of in a place of I can't depend on myself, is what he was saying. Okay, he didn't have the resources to help himself, to get out of the trouble he was in. So what did he do? He went to God. God heard him and saved him out of all his trouble. He realized that he couldn't depend on himself, but he could depend on God. He went from a place of self-reliance, self-dependency, to a place of God dependency and reliance on God. The final verse we're going to talk about today, verse 8. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusts in him. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Stop right there. See, David here is encouraging us to experience the goodness of the Lord for ourselves, how critically important that is. He's telling us, like that old song says, try Jesus, he's all right. I done tried him and he's all right. He's telling us to try Jesus. Now, I'm coming down on 5 minutes right now, so I'm going to stop right here. But I encourage you to think about what I said. You guys meditate on this scripture. And we come back, we're gonna keep going with verse 8, okay? We're gonna talk about that again. So thank you guys for joining me for 5 minutes of reflection. I'm Brother Lazavian. Love you, and I hope you guys have a great and wonderful day.